Third Dimension Production presents You Got Issues. You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. You got issues, what? Everybody's got them.
Why you crying? Let mommy not feed you. What happened? You want me to change your wash? I don't know what to do. Oh, Jesus. Mommy, help me with a man, help me.
Since St. Andrew's school children, that's what we really
Yeah, I didn't know raising the child would have been this hard, man.
Hey, girl, what you saying?
Lord, if I didn't know that, but I didn't know now. I will wait.
I know what you're talking about, girl. I done been there, and I done that, girl. And the good thing about it is, you got them Grammy to watch it for you, so you could still have some fun. You know what I'm saying?
True, because I just had the throat to you on mommy and get out of the house.
You know what I'm saying?
This is exactly what I needed.
I know, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Come, girl. Can I put the bottle on?
You need something, you need... Oh, Lord. Come on, man.
Hey.
To the hoochie mama. To the
Hey,
hoochie
hey,
mama.
hey,
To the hoochie
hey.
mama.
Oh, yeah.
To the hoochie mama. All I late for work, I gotta go to work. Jesus.
Mommy, can I go with you to work?
You can't come me to work. I have to go to
Mommy,
work.
can I go with you?
No, you can't go with me to work, child. Go to Grammy. See Grammy over
I
there?
don't want to go to Grammy. I want to go with you.
But you can't go with me. I have to go to Grammy.
I don't want to go to
Go to Grammy. See Grammy right there.
Yo, Bahamas, and welcome to another powerful edition of You Got Issues. What a beautiful evening it is, man. I tell you, check it out. Look here, today we're dealing with the issue of parenting. Is it just giving birth? Is it just donating sperm? Well, I tell you, let's check it out and let's see the real issue behind parenting. Well, good evening, Bahamas, and I tell you, we're at the round table and we're dealing with the issue, the serious issue in our country, the issue of parenting. And I tell you, joining me tonight are some powerful panelists, and we have here with us
Sister Deidre Gibson, Mother Shella Mae Williams,
Craven Rowe.
And I tell you, the issue tonight is the issue of parenting. What do you think is going on in our country as it relates to parenting? How important is the home in the whole family structure?
Well, I think parenting is very important in the home because, you know, the home is a structural foundation, whereas as a parent, we should teach our kids the way of the Lord and teach them the right things to do. If our kids don't have moral values and know of all the right things to do, then they will go out in society and find themselves getting into serious troubles, you know, that can really bring sorrow in the home and to the parent.
Okay. Craven, Mr. Roll, tell us, what's your perspective on that? What's your feeling on that? What you saying?
Well, I think the home is the training ground for parenting, and that's where everything starts. You know, the kids get to see the parents, and the parents get to see the kids, and that's a perfect opportunity for the parent to instill discipline, love, affection, and so many things you can deposit in your child in the home. And vice versa, it's a responsibility on the parent too to ensure that you don't live a double standard life in the home. So the kid is also watching you, and so you have to make sure that whatever you teach your child in the home, you know, you are following that, and they can see that you are a role model for them.
So the home, that is basically the breeding, the training ground,
Yes,
of children.
training ground.
They say that there's a breakdown, you know, this is what they say, in the home structure. Are parents to blame? What do you think? What do you think, Mom?
Well, I wouldn't really say parents are to blame. You know, you can bring up a child in the way you know best how. You could provide for that child. But what you have to look at, okay, I'm a Christian mother. What when my child goes to school and they meet up with their friends and they don't come from a godly home? That's where problem comes in.
Let me just ask a question right here. Sister Deidre, what word would you say to a parent whose child may be involved in all that peer pressure? How do you think one could cope in a situation like that?
Well, first of all, I think each parent knows their child, and with the child being in the home, as parents, we should know our children. So the minute we see that something is not lining up and that child is not doing what we taught them to do, then that's the time for us to pull that child in, sit them down and conversate with them to find out what's going on, what is the problem. And if there is a problem or an issue, as a parent, sometimes we don't have the answers. And this is why we have the church and we have like counselors and different people that we can turn to help us with in these situations. It's nothing that God can't fix. I don't care what it is that our kids are involved in. You know, God can fix it and he can work it out, you know, so.
Brother Roll, you're a male and you're a father. You're the father of how many?
2.
Okay, father of 2 kids. Married, single?
Married.
All right. What word would you give to, say hi to your wife, what word would you give to young men out there? What word would you give to fathers? And of course, this is not a bashing scene here. We're here to lift, we're here to encourage. What word would you say to young men who are thinking about fatherhood? What word would you say to fathers in general?
Well, I would say, well, you know, the father, I would say, I would liken the father to be the foundation of any home. And any contractor or builder would tell you that the foundation is one of the most important things on a building because it holds up the entire structure. And if the foundation is not in place, you know, the building is basically no good. And so I would encourage men to really be there for their children, it's very important for the men to be in their rightful places in the homes. You have a lot of single parenting, fathers in there, and it's tough. It's rough on some of these mothers, single parents, to just be bringing up these children all by themselves, and the father is not there. And so fathers, men in particular, it's very important for us to be in our rightful places, to be responsible, you know, to not try and run away from your responsibility, to be there for your children, to be there for your wife, to train your children, to love your wife. And if we have strong families and if the men are in place, then we'll have strong communities.
Right.
And the nation will prosper
Yes.
as a result of
Yes.
once the father is in their rightful place.
Yes.
And I think we're seeing the results, even in our country, of a lack of strong male fatherhood. You know, and again, we're not dissing, we're not trying to pull down. We want to say to fathers, and even there are some absentee mothers, and some mothers who have really not been what they ought to have been. But is a parent just a mother, someone who gives birth, or someone who has donated sperm? What exactly is a parent?
A parent is somebody who caters to the entire needs of a child. That child needs food, shelter, clothing, love, and guidance. So a parent is somebody who can teach and train their children in the right way. And I mean, even though sometimes we as parents, we do that, and even though the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart, we find ourselves as parents doing that, right? But then sometimes our children, they still tend to go astray because of peer pressure or because of wanting to fit in with their peers and hang with their peers and do what their peers are doing, you know. But as parents, we should be able to bring our kids in and, you know, to talk to them and give them that love. Because a lot of time, these kids, they're looking for love, you know, and if we can give them that love that they're looking for, they don't have to go out there and look for it in all the wrong places.
So true. Mom, I want you to speak a word right into that camera. I want you to say something to parents who are in a struggle right now. Okay, of course, your daughter was very rebellious, got pregnant at 14, had another child. At 33 was diagnosed HIV positive, but is doing awesome, and she's in the house tonight. And I tell you, we're gonna put a shot on just to show Roxy's face and her prosperity. Glory to God. But just say something to parents out there who are in a struggle?
Parents, you are there in TV land. You going through a struggle, but trust me, put Jesus first. He's the only answer, because I've been there, I've done that. I had my ups and my downs, but you know, God didn't leave me there. You know, He brought me back up. You know, I had a severe struggle with Roxy. She was on the program earlier, and I witnessed her. She went down to 97 pounds. I thought by now I would have already buried her. As a matter of fact, I had started making funeral arrangements for her, you know, and, you know, I showed her love. No matter what your child does, you know, there's a song that say, should a mother tender's care cease towards the child she bear. You know, what you have to look at, TV land, God entrusted those children in our care. And if He gave us those children, He know we could handle them. So no matter whatever your child has done or is doing, just trust in God, and He's able to bring you out, because He brought me out.
And I tell you, Bahamas, today Roxy is looking good and prosperous by the grace of God. And we ask you to continue just to keep her in prayer as she's being used in the schools and speaking her testimony. The issue of parenting, a very, very serious issue. Hey, take a look at Roxy. Look at her. Look what God has done. And today she too is a parent by the grace of God, but she's coming through. And I tell you, God has truly blessed her. I tell you, when I hugged her tonight, I say, hey, Fatty, God is good all the time. You got issues. The cousins got issues. The issue of parenting. God bless you in Jesus' name.
Parents, at what point did that adorable, innocent baby in your arms grow up to become a murderer, rapist, thief, or some type of criminal? What went wrong? Did you see the signs on the wall? Did you do all that you can by spending quality time with your children? Did you spend enough time communicating to them how much you love them? Did you teach them right from wrong, about the 10 Commandments and about Jesus' love for them? Did you become a part of their education by helping them with their schoolwork? Did you? Or maybe perhaps you were too busy trying to provide their basic needs. Or maybe you just got your priorities somewhat mixed up. Now, if the answer to any of those questions is a negative one, it is not too late to start now. Because I know that every good parent wants the absolute best for their children. However, parenting is not easy. It is hard work and a lot of work. Remember that you are not only investing in this generation, but for future generation also. Whenever I see children going contrary to God's plan for their life, it disturbs me. Our children deserve our best. They deserve all of our love, attention, discipline, and much more. Reverend William Miller once told me that you have to enjoy your children at every stage of their life because they grow up so quickly. He is so right. Being a good parent is not impossible. God's word says that we can do all things through Christ because He strengthens us. Parents, the secret is having an intimate relationship with Jesus so that He can teach you how to train up your children. The keys to your children's successful future is in your hands. What are you doing about it?
When I look back over my life, I see where God has brought me from. From the beginning of time, I was His sheep, and He is my shepherd. So many times I went astray, and it's more than I can say. And when I was in a jam, He always made a way out. He's done so much for me, I'm speechless in every way. All I can do is give Him all the praise, Father. I thank You for all that You have done, for giving the world Your only Son, for dying on Calvary to save a wretched soul like me. Oh Lord, You're my everything. I remember this one time when I almost went to jail. Satan had some plans for me, but those plans cannot prevail. 'Cause when God is on your side, His love will never hide, and He will be there to wipe the tears from your eyes. So no matter what the heathen say, and no matter what the wicked do, God has already told me that I will make it through. Father, I thank You for all that You have done, for giving the world Your only Son, for dying on Calvary to save a wretched soul like me. Oh Lord, You're my everything. When I think of His goodness and all He's done for me, my soul cries out, hallelujah to the Almighty. If it wasn't for Your blood, I would have not been set free. Yes, You are, You mean so much to me. I don't know about you, but I serve an awesome God, and I'm going to worship Him and give Him all I've got. Father, I thank You for all that You have done, for giving the world Your only Son, for dying on Calvary to save a wretched soul like me. Oh Lord, You're my everything. I thank You for all that You have done, for giving the world Your only Son.
Now, let's hit the streets and hear what they've got to say about parenting. Are our parents much younger? Is that an issue? Let's check it out.
Mr. Surratt, can you tell us, what do you think about parenting in our nation? Do you think the home environment directly has an impact on the health of our nation?
Absolutely. Yeah, parenting is very important. It is the catalyst for the future of our country. Yeah, parenting is number one, and I thank God that I'm able to be that parent for my kids, my family, you know. Parenting is just the utmost. You have to train up a child in a way that when he becomes old, he will not depart from it, and put in godly principles, you know, and the principles that you were taught from your parents, you know, and with a mother and father in the home, you are blessed. I agree, yes, parents are responsible for everything about their child or children, you know, and they should be punished if there's some problem with their children in a negative way. Sure, the parents are responsible. You should know exactly where your child is, what they are doing, what they are saying, what they are eating, what they are drinking, what they are sleeping. You need to know everything, and you cannot be overprotective, like some would say. Why are you so overprotective? Be overprotective. That's your child. You have the responsibility by God Himself to be the earthly God for your children.
The better foundation you have at home, the better kid you would be later. So it's up to parents to lay down the foundation for their kids to have a better life, and don't let the kids tell you what to do. You control the kids and tell the kid it's time to control themselves. Because a lot of parents are not in control. The kids are in control. I was riding with a friend the other day, and somebody came into the car, and then the kid was in the car also. You know what the kid do? Automatically change the station. Now the kid's supposed to ask permission to change the station. He didn't act, and the parents didn't even say nothing. So the kid would continue to do that.
Now, we're going to go to the word from the throne and hear from Mitzi J. Fernanda, CEO of Grace International, a motivational speaker. Man, she's going to talk to us real on parenting. Check it out.
I would like to give parents some tips today on how to effectively parent their children. In this age of technology and computers, I find it that a lot of teenagers know the computers better than their parents. There are parents who have computers in the house and they don't even know how to turn it on. You have to educate yourself about your computer. The computer is truly an information highway. Your kids could click on STDs to do research, and if they go through some of the pages, they would actually find pornographic sites. And so I say police yourself simply because you ought to know your computer well enough to become the administrator. Give your children a limited account, which means that some sites they won't be able to go on. When you do that, you're also able to go into their account and pull down the history and look and see which sites they've been on. Once you've learned the sites, some of them may be pornographic. You have to get the boldness to sit them down and talk to them about sex. Speak to them on these issues. Don't hide it. Our parents hid it from us. We ought not to hide it in this day and time with HIV and the chlamydia and all of this stuff going on. We have to become comfortable with sex to talk about it to our children. The television, you have the satellites, put a block on it. Make sure those sites are blocked. Your children do not have access to it. Police some of the things that they watch, the Family Guy, some of the comedies that they watch that would sensitize them and make them believe that sex outside of marriage is okay, or even gay and lesbian sex is okay. We have to come to that point where we truly begin to parent and police our children. One of the other things is, a lot of times you find that children are not involved in Sunday school. They don't even belong to church. Parent doesn't go to church. Don't even send them. They've never been. And in our country, I found it so strange that in questioning some children, that some of them don't even own Bibles. I remember when I was growing up that we had to go to church. It was never a choice. And I believe that the fathers in the home have to pick up this mantle. If there are fathers in the home, you have to pick up the mantle. God created you to be head of the house. And when he said head of the household, he meant that you would take charge and you would lead your family the way that he teaches you to lead. For mothers who are single mothers, then you need to pick up the mantle. We find so much time on Sundays to go to the food store and do the laundry, but we can't find time for God. And that is where all the answers are. I want to address teenage mothers today, having been a teenage mother myself and exposed to sex at a very early age of 15, some even earlier now, getting pregnant simply because that boy comes to you and he says, have this baby for me. And when you say no, he says, well, you don't love me. Like it validates your love for him, for you to have this child. It is very difficult to raise a child and be a child yourself. I can tell you from experience that when I had my son, he was a colicky child, crybaby, everything. My mother was so angry at me that she didn't allow anyone to help me. She said, you looked for it, you're going to take care of this child. And so she put her foot down. And I find that mothers don't do that today. When their daughters want to go out partying, they babysit. And that's not a good lesson to teach, because you realize that when mothers become proud of those grandchildren that their teenage daughters have, and they do everything for them, that teenage mother more than likely will go out and have another one. And so I thank my mother for that lesson. As a teenage mother, when my son, he was probably about 2 months old, crying 3 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't get him to be quiet, and it was like an every night thing. And I got so angry one night, I said to him, I will throw you into this wall. And I thank God that my father was passing by at the same time. He came and took my baby. You know, you may think that, oh, the babies are cute, You know, they look like doll babies. I can dress them up. But there's more to it than that. There is that changing the diapers, finding the babysitter, trying to get your education. There is that staying up all night. There is that when your friend is going out, you're stuck at home with the baby. You don't have the opportunity to be a teenager. And so I admonish young ladies who are out there thinking about having babies for these men. Men leave. Boys tell you, I love you, have this baby. When the responsibility hit of taking care of these children, they pack their bags and they go, and you're left all alone. And so I say to you, think twice. If a guy really loves you, he'd wait. If he loves you, he'll honor the fact that you want to keep your virginity. If he doesn't, let him go, because his intentions toward you were never good. And so I admonish you, young ladies, don't do it. Young men who want those babies, the responsibility is great financially. You have to buy the milk, the pampers, pay the nursery. These things a lot of young people don't think about. And so I admonish you to think twice before you go and do it. It's not pretty. You know, I always say I love my son, but if I waited to have him, I probably would have a doctorate degree by now. I probably would be much further than I am. But God, in his infinite wisdom, put me through it so that I can share it with you. And so today I share. Don't do it. Whatever you do, don't do it. Get your education. Live your dreams. You know, live your dream. It took me 42 years to get to my dream. But live your dream. Don't sacrifice just because somebody says, you have to love me. You have to prove it by having a child. Don't sacrifice your dreams for that.
Parenting, I tell you, when they were born, they did not come with a book or with a manual. Everything else did. But we trust that this program has been a blessing to you. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, hit us up on our webpage. Send us an email, baby. Give us a call. Man, mad props and shout outs to all of our sponsors. You got issues. Your cousins got issues. Your mama's got issues. Baby, your best friends got issues. But man, if you're going to be a parent, man, do it the right way. Get the skills. Get the skills. Peace out. Respect. We love you. Next week, y'all.
You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. You got issues, what? You got issues, what? You got issues, what? Everybody's got them. We all got issues, but we got options. Point being the word issues, we all got them. Got your head down, always keep your head up. That's what does it.